Search for NHK World.
Officials say Typhoon is expected to hit first.
周りに外国の方がいたら、ぜひ教えてあげてください。
Please share this with any non-Japanese speakers.
In addition to storm winds and high waves, we're looking at the possibility of record rainfall around the Kanto region.
Meteorological officials have classified Typhoon Hagibis as very strong. The storm is moving northwards over the Pacific towards Japan's main island of Honshu.
広い範囲で記録的な大雨となる見込みです。河川の氾濫が相次いだ昭和33年の狩野川台風に匹敵する記録的な大雨となる恐れもあります。
Half the size of mainland Japan, the eye is still well deformed. It's still equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane. It will lose some strength and most likely make landfall equivalent to a Category 2, but in the metro Tokyo area. With the pressure forecast to be so low, it could be one of the strongest in history. But it was just last month, on the 9th of September, that Fox Eye moved into the area equivalent to a Category 2. That knocked out power to over 1 million people. Hundreds of thousands were still without power a week or two later. And the estimated cost of damage was over $7 billion. We still have numerous homes that have blue tarps. There are still people that are in shelters. So when you look at the path of the storm, of course, they're going to cancel some matches for the safety of the spectators, but a lot of rain, landslide threat. There's a full moon, so the tides are going to be high. Storm surge is going to be an issue as that system makes its way through the region. There is still time for this maybe to shift a little southward and offshore, and we can only hope for that. This broad wind field here is really going to cause some problems. So as we break down some of the matches for you, and you get an indication, really, when you look at some of the effects of this, New Zealand versus Italy and England versus France canceled. For the first time in Rugby World Cup history, they've had to cancel this, and this is a concern for the Olympics that they're going to have in Tokyo in 2020. Not just the high heat, but it's typhoon season. Ireland and Samoa most likely will continue. It's too far to the west. But then we got matches on Sunday. Now, the storm's going to be long gone, but they also have the F1 Japanese Grand Prix. So depending on the damage and the power outages, will people be able to, maneuver around with powers out and, some of the bullet train services are down, the ferry services? We're really going to have to watch this again as we even look into areas of Sunday. So again, spectator safety comes first. First time in Rugby World Cup history, but this is quite a storm, and it's going to leave quite an impact on the Tokyo metro area. We'll continue to keep you posted on that.
Typhoon season in Japan, and that means at this time of the year the Japanese are used to these big weather systems, these typhoons affecting them. And in fact, only a month ago there was a big typhoon that hit Tokyo, and we've got another one now. It's called Typhoon Hagibis, and you can see from the satellite imagery, the view from space, just how big this typhoon is, covering Japan at the moment with that cloud. It's still got the eye in the centre of it, and it's a very strong typhoon, and it's moving ever closer to Japan. Now, the track of it will take it just towards Tokyo before then moving to the northeast, but it's likely to bring some very strong winds and some flooding rain. Now, those winds will start to pick up, and by Saturday, we're expecting it to make landfall towards Tokyo. Now, I've put on here Suzuka and Tokyo because this is where the Formula 1 Grand Prix is taking place and the Rugby World Cup matches in Tokyo. Now, on Saturday, those have both been cancelled. The typhoon will move its way to the northeast, and by Sunday, the weather should be better. But it all depends on how much damage and disruption there'll be in these areas if any of those sporting events take place on Sunday.
One of the most powerful typhoons of the year is on course to pummel parts of Japan, including Tokyo. Weather officials say it could bring record rainfall. The storm is already battering Chiba Prefecture, where violent gusts have torn roofs of homes and left some residents with injuries. Meteorological agency officials have classified Typhoon Hagibis as very strong. The storm is moving northwards over the Pacific towards Japan's main island of Honshu. Police say powerful winds have done extensive damage to some homes in Chiba Prefecture. They say a child was among a few people who sustained non-serious injuries. The storm has also knocked out power to about 10,000 homes across the prefecture. Hagibis could be on par with the typhoon that killed more than 1,200 people in the Kanto in Izu regions in 1958. The agency has issued an emergency warning for landslides in Tokyo and Izu, Shizuoka Prefecture. Torrential rain is forecast until Saturday with a severe risk of floods and landslides. Winds could reach record speeds in some areas. Storm surges are expected along the Pacific coast of eastern Honshu from Saturday through Sunday. Authorities have issued an evacuation order for residents in part of Shizuoka Prefecture. They're urging people to get to safety immediately.
The center of the eye is still offshore, but strong winds and rain has already started to affect central Japan. The outer band of the storm has been bringing showers and strong winds across Kinki, Tokai, and Kanto. Over 300 millimeters of rain has fallen in parts of Shizuoka Prefecture. We saw gusts of over 126 kilometers per hour in the Izu Islands. There is a high risk of landslides in northern Kanto all the way down to Shizuoka Prefecture. Thousands of homes are without power in Chiba and Kanagawa Prefecture, and some evacuation advisories has been issued in the area. So be prepared and make sure you stay informed. Hagibis is likely to make landfall in Tokai and Kanto by Saturday evening. Then it will move northward across the eastern coast of Tohoku and Hokkaido overnight Saturday, bringing heavy rain. Destructive winds are expected in a large portion of eastern and northern Japan. Expect winds gusting between 160 and about 200 kilometers per hour. Also, there's a risk of dangerous storm surges. The tides will be high when the typhoon moves closer, making storm surges an even greater risk. In addition, waves could reach up to 13 meters with coastal flooding possible. We are expecting copious amounts of rainfall. We could see up to 800 millimeters rain in Tokai and up to 500 millimeters in the Tokyo area. Rain could total 1,000 millimeters in parts of Tokai, so flooding and landslides are major concerns. Stormy conditions will persist in Tokyo, Shizuoka, and Osaka throughout the day on Saturday, and stormy conditions will move into Sendai overnight Saturday and will continue into Sunday morning. We'll see some improvements on Monday. That's all for now. Stay safe.
Will cause major disruptions for the transportation system in parts of Japan. Operators are already taking precautionary measures. Shinkansen bullet train services between Tokyo and Nagoya have been cancelled. Also suspended are trains between Nagoya and Shin Osaka and between Shin Osaka and Okayama. Bullet train services on the Tohoku, Yamagata, Akita, Hokuriku and Joetsu lines have been reduced or suspended from late Saturday morning. East Japan Railway has suspended some local train services in the Tokyo metropolitan area and Shizuoka Prefecture. It will take other Tokyo train lines out of action in stages. The suspension could last until at least noon on Sunday. Almost all other railway operators in and around Tokyo are suspending services from Saturday. All Nippon Airways and Japan Airlines have cancelled almost all domestic flights on Saturday to and from Tokyo's Haneda and Narita airports. Other carriers have also made cancellations. Some freeways are already closed, with more expected to follow. The National Tourism Organization is operating a telephone hotline in English, Chinese and Korean 24 hours a day. Government officials are urging foreign visitors to download an app called Safety Tips. They also suggest following the Twitter account Japan Safe Travel.
どこに避難すればよいのかという問い合わせがありますが、近くの避難所は自治体のホームページなどで確認できます。また NHK のデータ放送や NHK の各放送局のホームページでもご覧いただけます。今回の台風では記録的な大雨や暴風で大きな被害が出る恐れがあります。気象庁の出す特別警報を待たないでください。特別警報が出るときは雨や風が強まり、すでに重大な災害が発生している可能性が高い状況です。特別警報が出てからでは避難できなくなり、無理に避難すればかえって危険なこともあります。特別警報の発表を待つことなく避難をしてください。お年寄りや子どもがいる家庭では避難に時間がかかります。自治体からレベル3にあたる避難準備高齢者等避難開始の情報が発表された時点で避難を始めてください。また自治体からレベル4にあたる避難勧告が発表された場合には、周囲の状況をよく確認した上で速やかに避難を開始してください。避難する場合の注意点です。道路が冠水している場合には、足元が確認できずに転倒したり、側溝や蓋が開いたマンホールに転落したりする危険があります。2人以上で行動して、傘や長い棒などで足元を確認しながら避難をしてください。車の移動にも危険があります。浸水の深さが30センチに達するとエンジンが止まり、さらに深さが増すとドアが開けにくくなる上、車ごと流される場合があります。車が浸水したらすぐに外に出てください。また避難しようとした時にすでに浸水が進み、周辺で土砂崩れが発生するなど避難所に向かうのが危険な場合は、川や崖から少しでも離れた近くの頑丈な建物に移動することも一つの方法です。急激に雨や風が強まり、すでに周辺で浸水や土砂崩れが起きている場合には外に出るのは危険です。過去の災害でも避難場所への移動中に災害に巻き込まれるケースが相次いでいます。すでに災害が起きている場合には、建物の2階以上で崖の反対側の部屋に移動する垂直避難をすることで安全を確保できることもあります。周囲の状況をよく確認して行動してください。また竜巻などの突風が起きた場合は、窓ガラスが割れて飛び散る恐れがあります。できるだけ窓のない部屋か窓から離れた場所で身を守ってください。